Welcome to the Girl Talk Mental Health. Girl Talk Mental Health dares to go where others won't. We unpack the hard truths about mental health, dissect trending topics, and challenge the stereotypes and stigmas holding us back. From navigating the 6 dimensions of wellness to redefining social norms, this is more than a discussion. It's a revolution in how we care for our minds and souls. Ready for bold, honest conversations that spark change? Let's dive in. It's time for real talk with real impact.
Welcome to another impactful and powerful episode of Girl Talk Mental Health for real conversations, expert advice, and transformative insights on mental health. I am your host, Virginia Dale Manning, mental health therapist and advocate, here to serve you, to make you aware and educated on all aspects of mental health. And April is Stress Awareness Month. And today we will talk about some life changing, inspirational techniques, tools to help you to live a more stress free life. And we will have a deep discussion on financial well being and mental health with our special guest, Jessilyn Persson. She is a speaker, author, and consultant for couples building their financial empires. And we know that's stressful, that finances, child, at Discover Life by Design. So, welcome our special guest. Hi, Jessilyn.
Hello, thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Thanks for being here. So, let the audience know a little bit more about who you are.
Sure. So I am Jessilyn. I'm married with 2 kids. They're currently 9 and 11, both boys. I grew up on a farm with no money, and after putting myself through university and meeting my husband in my early 30s, we together built our wealth. And from there, I realized it's not as hard as I once thought, and as hard as I feel society makes us believe. But once I built my wealth, it made a huge shift in my mental health because I did have issues. Of course, I was a huge stressor of money because that's how I grew up without it, and I always had that fear of not having enough. Like, was there going to be money to put food on the table? Was there going to be money to pay the bills? And I knew I didn't want to live that lifestyle, and I didn't want to teach my kids that lifestyle. But I had to figure out how to not have that lifestyle. And that was a bit of a long road. But once we got there, what an incredible headspace I was able to grow into. And I call it just peaceful because I'm now in a space where I don't have to worry. My bills will always be covered. My kids will be taken care of. Like, I got myself in a state. And then once I got there, I realized that opened up my mental space just to be more open, more giving, more supportive of others around me, because I couldn't support others when I was struggling internally, right? But now, not can I just support them like emotionally and mentally and help educate them, but I, like, financially, I now can support causes I believe in, and I can support like my parents who aren't financially successful and won't be. But it's things like that cause extra stress on top of your own finances, is your family and your loved ones.
Wow, that is so inspirational. Well, I'm glad we have you here today to help us alleviate and relieve some of our financial stresses as well. So, are you ready to dive in?
Sure am.
So, of course, we're talking about the role of the money mindset and how financial well-being boosts mental health. So, what is the biggest mindset blocks that keep people stuck in financial stress, and how can they shift their perspective to cultivate financial well-being?
Great question. So there are definitely a few of them, and I'd say some of the top ones are I don't deserve wealth. Like, we have this feeling that we just don't deserve it, and it's a construct of self-worth and like money guilt. And like, once we realize that money is a tool, money doesn't judge you. Money doesn't change you. It amplifies who you are. So if you're a good person, you're going to continue to be a good person. If you have money, it won't change you. And once you have money, I found for me, my gratitude shifted. I became so much more grateful because money allows me to help others, help my family, and create change in the world that I wanted to see, which I couldn't do without money. I'd find another one is like scarcity mindset. We have scarcity around no not being enough. There's not an abundance mindset. I don't have enough time. I don't have enough money to start. And then we get stuck in this cycle and this circle that keeps us paralyzed instead of moving forward. But if we understand that small steps can lead to big wins, even $50 a month, if that's all you can start with, it will add up and it will compound. And then if you look at there's opportunities that don't necessarily need as much money as you think, like investing in real estate, for example, which is what my husband and I do. You don't need all the money yourself. You can consider partners, borrow from the bank, find creative financing, private equity. Like there are so many options out there. I just feel like as a whole, we're not educated about this. So we wouldn't even know that these are available to us. And I'd say the third one is probably like the fear of either financial loss or failure. Like, what if I try this endeavor and I fail? Oh no. And so we don't even start. And you can't get any further if you don't take a step. And so if you can just start educating yourself. I mean, we have resources abundance now with online tools.
Okay.
And you can educate yourself on like about finances because we're not taught that in school. So you know what you're talking about when it comes time to what you might want to do. And just know that if you educate yourself on finances and it'll take away that fear time because you're so busy like, oh, well, learning this and that, and you're not focusing on that either.
In other words, I mean, not saying people are stressing for nothing, but
Yeah.
there are ways to overcome stress if you intentional about it. And if you need help streamlining some of your finances or knowing new tools, I mean, that's what people like you are here for, to help, guide people, to coach people, help them to get over that fear and those stressors about their finances, which is a big thing, of stress that's breaking up marriages and breaking up mental health, and it's breaking up a lot of things within our society. So that's some great insight. So how do you think, and you gave us a lot of good nuggets already about how financial instability impacts mental health, but what are some practical, some easy to use steps? Even though you gave us some, but sometimes we have to put that word out there so people can know these are easy to use steps that people can take to relieve money related anxiety.
Absolutely. So I think if you get clarity on your finances, whatever your situation is, if you're clear on it, that frees up mental space. But if it's cloudy and you're like, oh, I don't know what my bills are, I don't know what debts are coming, I don't know what might be coming my way, I don't know what my income is, I don't know what my savings are, or like if you are just out there in the clouds hoping it's going to work out, that doesn't usually work. But if you have clarity and you're like, okay, I know these are my expenses, this is my income, then there's no second guessing it. It's just there. And that clears up some mental space for you to just take a step forward, whatever step that is for you to move forward in your wealth and financial building. I say always have, like, even if it's small, a financial net. So if something happens, or I should say when, and it can be, anything from medical to an appliance or a furnace going, like something happens, you don't have to worry because you've got that financial net to at least cover off the next big issue that comes your way. So you're not scrambling or suffering because you're taking money from this pie to buy a new furnace that you need because it's freezing, but now you're wondering how you're going to maybe pay a different bill. So if that can alleviate some stress there, um, shift your mindset from scarcity to abundance. Abundance is everywhere. And a little exercise I love to give clients, and just in general when I'm talking about finances, is when you're out and about in your everyday, which we are, whether that's taking your kids to school, going to get groceries, going to the doctor, running your errands, getting your nails done, whatever it is in your day-to-day life, start looking for it. And if you see new buildings going up or being renovated, there's money. You see nice cars being driven, there's money. You see lineups at Starbucks or at Sephora or in a restaurant, there's money. And so there is money everywhere. And when you start to realize, wait a minute, there is money everywhere, it's just a matter of how are they choosing to spend it?
Mm-hmm.
And there's no reason you don't deserve your portion and you don't deserve to have your own money and your wealth. Just because you have it doesn't mean someone else is lacking it. It's a
Mm-hmm.
choice to design your life the way you want to. And it doesn't mean other people are suffering. If they are, those are choices they've made. Those aren't choices that you should have impact you just based on maybe your upbringing or the way you were raised around money. So just start looking for money and you'll see the abundance everywhere. And then, as you mentioned, get some guidance. There's support all over. People who are willing to help you get over mindset blocks, learning how to maybe budget, learning how to tackle debt if you have it, and just how to start getting yourself ahead.
Mm-hmm. Those are some great tips. And I love the way you dive into that scarcity money mindset. So let's take a quick commercial break. And then when we get back, I want to talk a little bit more about where that money mindset scarcity comes from because, it's coming from somewhere. So we need to dive into that particular aspect because I think that once people break that code of thinking that they have to be stuck where they are, and versus the possibilities, like you said, you see people with new cars, new houses, new buildings, you can have it too, but you have to break that old mindset. So we're going to talk about that soon as we come back from this quick commercial break.
Welcome to the Girl Talk Mental Health. Do you ever feel like you're running on empty? Stuck in the same cycle? Or just trying to keep it all together? You're not alone. Stress, depression, burnout, and self-doubt are real, but they don't have to control your life. Imagine feeling empowered, balanced, and truly at peace. At Girl Talk Mental Health, we're diving deep into the real conversations that help you heal, grow, and thrive. From breaking stigmas to actionable strategies, we're here to empower you to take back control of your mental wellness and reclaim your time, your energy, and your joy. Follow us now for expert insights, uplifting conversations, and the tools you need to transform your life. It's time for a real talk with real impact. Girl Talk Mental Health. Real conversations, real change. Follow us today at Virginia Dal Manning.
So, welcome back to the second half of Girl Talk Mental Health. And we have a powerful financial, I'm going to call her a guru. I don't know if she like to call herself a guru, but she has dropped some great nuggets this first half. So, if you missed the first half, be sure to go back, get your notebooks, your paper, your little cute, colorful pen, pencil, and take some notes. And be sure to get in touch with her. She's going to give you her contact information at the end of the show. But we were talking about scarcity mindset, and I wanted to talk about that a little bit because I know growing up I had the scarcity mindset. I grew up in a low socioeconomic environment, and I know how that can impact you tremendously because I've been working on breaking minds, and still it's a intentional act every day to stay out of that old mindset that I grew up with. So give people like some real good daily habits to shift those mindsets out of that old poverty mindset that they may have grew up in or whatever thought process. Look, one of them was like what they say, like when parents used to say, money don't grow on trees and stuff like that, or only certain people can have money, or money is evil, the rich people are evil and stuff like that. So what is a daily habit or a couple of habits that people can do to break that old toxic mindset?
So I think this is a great exercise. The one that really worked for me is I sat down and I was with a coach, and he asked us, put on the page your mother and your father, and then write down their financial way of living, their thoughts, what they did, what they think, how they handled money. Write down your mom, write down your dad, and then look at yourself. And right then I was like, oh, I'm like my mom. And it's like, does it still serve you to have that mental way of dealing with your thoughts on finances based on who you are today? And I was like, oh, no. Like, it did not serve me at all, because I was in a completely different space than what my mom was in growing up and what I was in growing up. And so then you take that and you flip it and go, okay, so if my mom had the scarcity mentality, she saved, save, 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 she didn't want to spend anything. It's like, okay, but I grew a good career. I've put away savings. I have investments. I've set myself up. So do I really need to save, 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 save anymore? No, that's not who I am. I made sure I had a career so I wouldn't not have money. And so I had to really shift to be like, and then like you said, it's a daily thing where it's like, okay, the thoughts I'm having, are they serving who I am today? Or are they serving to support who my mother is, or who my father is, or my past, however that came in? And if they're no longer serving you, just thank them. You know what? They did the best they could. They served you at the time, but you got your new path, and that's going to set you forward on the way you want to go.
That is good. Yes. So before we get into my favorite part of the show, the spotlight question, what is like some other helpful tool or tip that you can give to us before we go into the favorite part of mine, the spotlight question?
Yes, a daily habit I've incorporated that has actually worked out well and I love is being conscious about your spending every day. And so now, like, because I came from that kind of poverty mindset, I would go in, I'd buy things on sale, I would store it in freezers, I would have everything there. But now I go in, and instead of just loading my cart because it's on sale, it's be like, do I actually need this in the near week or even month, whatever I'm prepping for? And if I don't, now I say no. Whereas before I would buy it because it was on sale. It was a good deal, and it might not be on sale later, but you might also not need it later, right? I think if we can live more in the moment, and that was just groceries, but even if you're going out for coffee, it's like, well, do you need to go to Starbucks every day?
Hmm.
Like, can you
I'm
do it?
guilty. Guilty.
Well, maybe do it every second or third day as a treat. And then for those who go beyond that, it's like, well, at Starbucks, can you get just your favorite coffee? Or do you need to get the breakfast sandwich with it or the treat? Like, we just kind of keep spending. And if we don't rein that in, it can get out of control. And then we're wondering, well, where did my money go?
Hmm. So it's
What?
like we justify it, right? We justify those little bitty nuggets of spending here and there when you're saying that we can just stop the little extra nuggets of justification of spending because it's on sale, it's my favorite, and then kind of use it as an investment or a financial tool for more stability.
Absolutely.
That's good. All right. Well, are you ready for the spotlight question?
Sure.
Woo, there we go. So you already given us so many nuggets of information, but what's one mindset shift? Because that mindset is powerful. Or action step, because people need a mindset or they need the action. They're stuck somewhere. Do you believe could transform how we approach mental health in our daily lives?
Yes. One that I find really worked for me is every time I have a thought, especially the negative ones, because we all get them and we can get hundreds a day, place where that is. So, for example, if we take, you said it. You're like, earlier, you're like, well, rich people are greedy and rich people are selfish. And I used to have those thoughts too, not realizing that was blocking me from building my wealth and becoming successful because subconsciously I didn't want to be seen as greedy or selfish. So I was stopping myself. But when I realized I thought that, and then it's like, okay, do I know any wealthy people? And I did. And I'm like, well, what are their attributes? And then I wrote them down. I'm like, oh, well, actually, you wouldn't even know they're wealthy. They don't wear different clothes. They don't live in different neighborhoods. They don't drive fancy cars. They have great families. They're very supportive. I was like, oh, that's me. That's what I want to be. Right. But I had to shift my thoughts, which were telling me greedy, 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 to like, no, you can still be supportive and serve your community and give back when you have money. But that goes for any negative thought. Like when you think something negative, just in general, doesn't have to be about money. It'd be like, okay, where did that thought come from? And is it real? Like placed to something tangible that you actually have, you've known someone who's done it, or you know someone who's in it. And if that's not the reality, shift it to be like, oh, well, actually, this is what really can happen. And if you keep doing that, eventually those negative thoughts go away because you've replaced them with positive thoughts. Not just necessarily an affirmation, like this is a positive thought. It's more like you've proven to your conscious, subconscious, everything about you, like, well, that's not actually real. Like I legit know these guys who are multimillionaires, for example, who you wouldn't know they were. So now you can actually shift the pattern to be like, oh, okay, that's not true. And I find it'll kind of just take a hike.
So what I heard some nuggets about giving and gratitude are some strong elements of helping with the financial aspects of stress and building abundance and just alleviating stress, period, even whether it's finances or whatever, like you said, but that the giving and gratitude are two big elements. So let the people know where they can connect with you, and then if you have a special offer for them.
Sure. So discoverlifebydesign.ca is our website. And on there, you can find access to our quiz, to book a free call with us to just help you kind of assess where you are and where you want to go. And we can help you build that plan. And then on there, you can also access our podcast. We do have a podcast, Life by Design, where we talk about combination of how to build your wealth, but also the mindset and the mental shifts you need to make for those, for you and for your partner, because you mentioned it earlier, like finances is it's the number one cause of divorce. We know that. And we talk about a lot of that in our podcast as well, to be like, okay, if you can get on the same page as your partner financially, that alleviates stress, mental capacity, and any kind of fear of divorce, which can also break you financially if you are financially doing well and decide to separate.
Great, perfect. So we want to thank you, and I'm in awe. I'm for sure gonna get in touch with you probably after we get off of this call right here. But y'all make sure that you get in touch with Jessilyn because she gave a lot of great information. She has a lot of resources, a lot of tools. Be sure that you subscribe to my YouTube channel. All of this information should be in the description of this show. And we thank you for joining us for Girl Talk Mental Health. Stay tuned to April because it's all about Stress Awareness Month, because we want you to live your best life, living the best strategies that you can, taking action, mindset shifts, because you do not have to be stuck where you are at. So see you all next time, and thank you for tuning in.
Thank you for joining us for Girl Talk Mental Health. Remember, your mental health is your wealth. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to at Virginia Del Manning.